with his diary because he's the boss. But if I'm in the dark and I don't know what is happening, I am not an angel to know exactly where the president will be at what time, then it's not right. So if Kenyans don't see me in a presidential function, I want to tell them today it's because I am not aware of the function. And the function they see me in is the one I have been invited. But previously, I had access to the diary, and without even talking to the president or even to the controller, I would align my diary with his, because his takes precedence over mine because he's the boss. You know, now it becomes very difficult for me even now to work on my diary because I don't know what the president has. So it has really even made my work very complicated because I am just there not knowing what the president has. So I am not able to arrange my events, you know, going forward. But what I'll do, I'll talk to the president at the right time, and I'll see what is the problem. Okay. I don't think the president, in my view, would be petty to ask anybody to remove from the diary. I think it's just some handlers around the presidency who want just to create mischief, to portray me as somebody who is disrespectful, and to portray me as somebody who is absconding duty. I am an alcoholic, and everybody knows, including the president. I'm available for duty. I'm available to assist the president 24/7. Right. But work needs to be made, you know, straight so that we are able to work properly, so that I align my diary with his, and I'm able to assist him as it is supposed to be. All right. Who is the custodian of that diary? There is a page with everybody there. There's head of public service. There's a president himself. There is a controller of Statehouse, there's a deputy chief of staff, there was me, there was my chief of staff, there was my private secretary, there are security people, the people really who handle the president and myself were in that page. And you know, we even share. What do you mean with the page? No, they are the ones who handle the president's issues, his movement, you know, hospitality people, security people, on that page. So that once his activities are known, everybody aligns automatically, and there has been a lot of efficiency because you have the information so that you are able to plan, you are able to coordinate. If you are flying, you know, you are going by chopper, you prepare. If you are going by road, you know. But when you don't have that information, then it becomes extremely difficult for my office to align with the president's office. Help Kenyans understand. So this diary, is it a physical book? Is no, it's a WhatsApp group. It's a WhatsApp group. WhatsApp group. It's every day, you know, things now are good with this digital space. It's a WhatsApp group, and it's updated as you go on. And the president updates it sometimes himself, the controller does, and we all keep on aligning. So you know, sometimes he'll have a program, he'll move it from this day to that day. I get into my diary and change mine and align with his. You understand? So your team is no longer in that? No, I myself, I was removed. My private secretary was removed. My chief of staff was removed. So we have no access to the president's diary. Who removed you? The private secretary to the president. Who's that? Yeah, he's called Mayo. I will show you. I was looking for my phone. I wanted to show you. He removed me. So once we are not there, then we don't know what's going on. So let nobody, let no Kenyan, and let those people in Statehouse who are trying to say that I don't attend meetings, let them return me in the page so that I know what the president is doing, where he is going, what time, so that I'm able to align and give him support, as I've always been doing. But I cannot do it when I don't have access to that information. Does the president know you're no longer in the WhatsApp group? I don't know. I've not asked him. You haven't? No. And it's been how long? You said a week? I think it's about a week. About a week? About a week. And you haven't spoken to him about it? No, I've not spoken to him about it. To be truthful, initially I thought it's a little bit petty. Okay. But now that the matter has been raised, and I have seen Kenyans have been asking, and I have seen some mischievous bloggers in Statehouse trying to insinuate that I'm absconding duty, I have decided to give this information to the people of Kenya in the spirit of the truthful man, a man who speaks the truth, so that the people of Kenya know exactly why I'm not in those functions. I think I owe Kenyans the truth, because again, as I told you, Sam, I'm employed by the people of Kenya. They need to know why is the deputy president whom they elected not alongside the president in the functions. I think we owe that information to the people of Kenya. And do you know why you would be removed? I don't know, but I have told you There are mischievous people around the president.
Why are they mischievous against you, Deputy President?
Well, I don't know. How do you explain mischief? People have many motives. People have many motives. They are mischievous people trying to create a wedge between me and the president. And it's been going on for a while. And I take it in stride myself because I'm also an elder and I'm also an officer, you know, who is well trained. I was trained in paramilitary. I have tremendous capacity for perseverance and endurance. I'm able to take a lot of flack, just quiet and taking it in good tiding because I am quite mature in my leadership, in my approach to life. And many, many petty things, I have ignored them because I sometimes I don't want to become petty. So there are many characters around there. You know, you remember, Sam, when the king was here in Statehouse, the king,
King Charles
the third. I think the president had sent me, I think, to Berlin or to Brussels, I'm not sure. I can't remember exactly to which country. And so when the king was in State House, I was missing. Okay? A blogger who works for the president created a Photoshop. And I know you can remember. Just for mischief and to demean me. Created a Photoshop that, you know, the king is here working with the president. Then there was a window there. And Gachagua had been locked in that window. And he actually circulated on his blog. Until Kenyans complained, then he brought it down. Just to demean the deputy president. And these are people who work for the president. And you wonder why. Why? How come you work for the president? You want to demean his deputy. And I told them, I raised it with them, the head of communication. I said, you think you are demeaning the deputy president? You are not. You are demeaning the president. If there is a perception that the president has locked his deputy in a room somewhere so that the king does not see him, who looks bad in this situation? It's the president who looks bad. So there are many people around the president who are very petty, who are full of mischief, and who are hell-bent on creating conflict within the presidency. I would like to ask the people who work for the president to be honorable and decent people. Let the deputy president have access to the president's diary. Unless the president himself has expressly given instructions that he doesn't want his deputy to have access to his diary. If that is the case, I'll accept it.
Is it a possibility?
I don't think it's a possibility. I don't think President William Ruto would go that down. But if then I'm not reinstated, now that I have brought it in the public and the president will know about it. If I'm not reinstated, then it follows. It is clear. And then the instructions
that says a lot about your relationship with the president. You just said that because you've raised it in the public, now the president will know about it. What happened to the two of you?
I don't
know. You were very happy on the day of inauguration. In the weeks before the election, you were very happy.
I don't know. Looking at it, I am not a mystical person. I am a Christian and a very true believer. But I think it looks like there is a jinx around this office of the deputy president. And President William Ruto had a very rough time with the President Uhuru Kenyatta. But luckily for him, he had 5 years to work and work very well without any disturbance. President William Ruto gave a promise, a commitment to the people of Kenya. When he was complaining the way he was persecuted, he was mistreated, he was demeaned, he was harassed, he gave a commitment to the people of Kenya that under his watch, if they elect him as president, his deputy will never be demeaned, his deputy will never be harassed, his deputy will never be persecuted, his deputy will never be disrespected, and his deputy will be facilitated to work and work well. For the first year, that happened, and I'm grateful to him because he did not allow anybody to disrespect me. He did not allow anybody to interfere with my work. But the second year, I must tell you, that is happening. You know, cabinet ministers have been abusing the deputy president. Just the way it was happening during the time of Uhuru Kenyatta. You remember Tobiko called President William Ruto a clerk. Matiang'i wrote him a message that called him an idiot. And people disrespected him. People were intimidated. People were harassed. And President William Ruto made a commitment to the people of Kenya that if he is elected president, it will never happen that his deputy will be disrespected. Today, the deputy president is abused by people hugging on his car, and the president is quiet. Cabinet ministers have been abusing the deputy president. The president is quiet. The president has given many promises to the people of Kenya. Some of them he has not been able to fulfill them because of the difficult economic situations that we are in, and it's understandable. But there's one promise he gave to the people of Kenya that requires no finance. It requires nothing. It requires him to be a gentleman and keep that promise. The promise he gave the people of Kenya, that under his presidency, his deputy will not be abused, his deputy will not be disrespected, his deputy will not be intimidated, his deputy will not be persecuted, his deputy will not be harassed. That, I think, the president, my boss, owes that to the people of Kenya to honor that promise so that Kenyans can trust him and he can win the trust of the people of Kenya, because this is something within his purview. He requires no funding, he requires no financing, he requires no urging. It's a commitment he gave. And he also gave it to me,
right,
with my wife and my children. When he asked me to be his running mate, I sat with him and my wife and my children, and we asked him, we have seen what you have gone through. If our father becomes your deputy, will he be taken through what you are taken through? And he gave us as a family a very firm commitment that that will never happen. I'm asking President William Ruto, my boss, please keep your promise to the people of Kenya. Stop those people who are abusing your deputy. Stop those ministers who are demeaning your deputy. Don't allow the criminal justice system to harass and intimidate your deputy the way you are intimidated. If you cannot keep the other promises to the people of Kenya, at least this one is a very simple promise. Be a good man. Be a good Christian. Keep that promise, President William Ruto, because that is a commitment you gave to the people of Kenya, and you gave me that promise in front of my wife and children that you will never allow anybody to demean me, to disrespect me, to harass me, to persecute me, to intimidate me, to coerce me. That is a commitment that you gave. I ask you, Mr. President, keep that commitment.
Are you frustrated?
I'm not. I am, let me tell you, son, you don't know me. Many people don't understand Rigathi Gachagua. Rigathi Gachagua is a seasoned leader who has seen many ups and downs. I underwent hell in the last administration to support President William Ruto. Cases were fabricated against me for studying with President William Ruto. My wealth was confiscated for studying with William Ruto. But I'm a very, very, very principled man. I stood with him to the last man. I never expected this to happen. You know, my family is devastated. You know, that this can be happening to their father. A man who went out of his way to start with President William Ruto and make sure he is elected president, and took the flag for it. And I say, even if there is a jinx around this position, at least President William Ruto was allowed to do his work for 5 years without interruption, without harassment, for 5 years. I've only done 1 year. And what is happening to me is worse than what happened to President William Ruto. I asked President William Ruto, please allow me to work. Allow me to work for the remaining 3 years. Let me serve the people of Kenya.
Okay.
Let me serve the people of Kenya and keep your promise. Keep your promise, Mr. President, so that you can win the trust of the people of Kenya as an honest person, as a person who keeps his promise. What is happening is not right. It doesn't augur well, and it has, to a great extent, eroded the trust of the people of Kenya in your leadership. Please, Mr. President, I am here willing to work, to serve you with the dedication, to serve the people of Kenya, to support you the way I've always done, to undertake whatever responsibilities that you assign me. But let the insults in your presence stop. Let people not hold night meetings let this money that is being used for these meetings assist us to pay pending bills, Mr. President. People are suffering. Resources are being mobilized to do politics, to divide the people of Mount Kenya region, to fight the deputy president. When Kenyans are suffering, when we are collecting taxes from people and we are saying we don't have enough, how come millions of shillings are being mobilized across the country to fight your deputy president, to undermine his work, to divide the people of Mount Kenya region for political purposes? I think this is the lowest moment of our administration, but I am hopeful that this can be corrected and all of us can go back to work and the people of Kenya can be given an opportunity to enjoy the fruits of their vote to the president and I.
Right, and I'm sure the president will get your message. Now, what was your role in the formation of the broad-based government?
My role was very simple, agreeing to the proposal by the president. President William RUTO sat me down and told me that he had made a decision that he needed to bring in other people so that we stabilize government and we bring everybody and we make everybody feel part of Kenya, and I was agreeable. And I told the president, if that is the intention, and to make our country move forward, improve the lives of our people, I'm agreeable. And I accepted 100%. And I support the broad-based government. I support the decision by the president. I embrace the people who joined us, and I am working well with them, and will continue working with them. What causes confusion is many people asking me, how is it that the president called for broad-based government to bring in everybody so that we have one cohesive country, so that everybody is part of it, yet people are planning to remove others? How does it work that we have brought in ODM people to come and join us, and then we are saying now that we have brought these ones, now we have the numbers to chase this one? Then the whole thing would not have been very genuine. If that is the case, it doesn't look then genuine, because I am told they are saying they didn't have the numbers to remove Gachagua. Now that Raila Odinga has come on board, they can use his members of parliament to join and kick Gachagua out. Then that would defeat the purpose of the broad-based government. But from what the president told me, and I believed him, is that we are bringing these people so that we have one country that is cohesive and we carry everybody along. And it made sense to me.
Do you still
I'm still persuaded that is the way to go. But from what I am hearing from these characters, for the meetings that they hold, and there are people very close to the president, is that the purpose of the broad-based government was to get numbers so that they can get the numbers from ODM, join the ones from Kenya Kwanza to chase Gachagua away. If that was the intention of the broad-based government, then that would have been the deception of the highest order. And I don't think people would ever forgive the president if that was the intention. And I don't think, from what he has explained to me, and I'm persuaded that he meant well for the country, and I'm in support of the whole thing. But if it turns out that the purpose of the broad-based government was to get numbers from ODM to join and put them together with UDA to impeach the deputy president, then the whole broad-based government would have been a deception. It would have been a con.
Have you seen the formal agreement between the president and Raila Odinga?
No, I trust the president, and many times, and many people accuse me of being a bit reckless. I am a very trusting person, because when you are trusting, you trust others. The president gave me his word, and I was happy. And if there was any written agreement, I'm not aware of it. I took his word that we need to bring these people so that we work together to make our country move forward. By the way, Sam, so trusting is regarding Gachagua and his people from the Mount Kenya region, that in the whole of this matrix, we are the only people without a written agreement with President William RUTO. We just agreed as gentlemen. I can tell you, when Musalia Mudavadi came to join President William RUTO, they have an MOU. With Moses Wetangula, they have an MOU. Jefferson Kingi, they have an MOU. Alfred Mutua, they have an MOU. Everybody wrote an MOU with President William Ruto. I and the people of the mountain, because we are very trusting people, we trusted President William Ruto, and we agreed to move in one party. We did not even form our own party to bargain with or to negotiate with him. We accepted him because we believed and trusted him. And we moved together on trust. And what we agreed is what we are proceeding on. So I have never asked the president for any written document or anything. I always take his word for it, because I'm trusting, so I also trust.
Do you regret that decision?
I don't regret the decision, but I have heard many of our supporters saying that it was an indiscretion on my part. I have not yet interrogated whether it was an indiscretion on my part or not. But many of our people, many of our supporters from the Mount Kenya region think that there was an indiscretion on my part. But I want to say I think I did the right thing, because trust is very important. And we gave President William our trust. We expect him to reciprocate that trust.
Okay.
And one of the ways for him to win our trust is to stop the humiliation of the Deputy President.
Okay. Deputy President, I think you've made that a point quite clearly. But tell me, even as you move ahead to now manage the broad-based government, you're out of the President's diary, you're not getting communication on the events he's holding. How then do you even coordinate the cabinet committees yourself? Have you chaired the committees since the reconstitution of the cabinet?
No, I have not. I chair cabinet committees, and we used to have 6 cabinet committees. We have collapsed them into 2. We had a cabinet meeting, I think, on Tuesday, and we agreed we have 2 committees, one on governance, one on production, and I'll be chairing those committees unless advised otherwise. And those committees have been very good, Sam, and part of the work that I've done for this country and for the president. I've held 35 cabinet committees since we were sworn in, and we have prosecuted.
You said how many?
35.
35
cabinet committees, and we have prosecuted 333 agenda items. And what those cabinet committees do, they are very, very thorough and very, very interactive, and very, very exhaustive, because we even invite PSs, we invite CEOs, we invite technical people, and we do interrogate business of cabinet in a very comprehensive manner, so that by the time we go to the cabinet that is chaired by the president, more or less most of the issues have been agreed on, and the president gives his thinking and he gives his direction, and sometimes he agrees, sometimes he doesn't agree with us, and give it to him. Where he doesn't agree with us, he convinces us and we get convinced. And the president, in my view, did very well to set up the cabinet committees, because the president should be a consumer of finance, because he's a very, very busy person. And the kind of work we do here in cabinet committees, sometimes 6 to 7 hours, will be a bit heavy for the president because of his duties.
What is the reason
so we continue,
yeah.
and those cabinet committees have worked very well.
Okay.
And I am very, very, very clear that we'll continue to have the cabinet committees.
Right.
And we'll be able to look at the cabinet memos that have come, and we'll be able to proceed to the cabinet for the final approval.
If they were that effective, were they being reduced from 6 to 2?
No, what happened is that there were 6, and then we were having issues of quorum. And sometimes one member would appear in 3, 4 committees. So it was becoming logistically a nightmare, that this committee is meeting, then you have to go, you have to come back. And I think we agreed in cabinet, and it's a good decision. We reduced them into 2, one to do with governance, it has 11 ministries, the other one to do with production, it has 11 ministries. And I think it will work very well. Okay. And we'll have the first cabinet committee, I think, next week, and we'll be able to process all the agendas that are before us so that we can proceed to the cabinet. You promised the people, or rather, during the campaigns you used to say that when Raila Odinga came to the government, under the handshake arrangement with President Uhuru Kenyatta, that's when you lost the Jubilee government of second term. And you said you'd never allow Raila Odinga into your government. Now it appears he has quite a hand in it. Yeah. Is that a deal breaker for you? Well, I look at it differently. Only a fool doesn't change his mind. We had President Uhuru Kenyatta, our fourth president, brought Raila to government and asked us to support Raila Odinga, which we, the people from the Mount Kenya region, were very unhappy about. And we disagreed with President Uhuru Kenyatta, and President William Ruto persuaded us that Raila is the one who has caused problems in government. He persuaded us, and he's a very persuasive leader, and we were persuaded. President William Ruto persuaded us that if we allow Raila Odinga to become president, this country will not move forward. And as a result, we disagreed with President Uhuru Kenyatta and rejected Raila Odinga and gave our vote to President William Ruto. So when we came into office, it was my agreement with President William Ruto that we will not allow Raila into government. But along the way, my boss, President William Ruto, changed his mind. And he is a boss. And in this situation, Sam, we are not in a co-presidency. I'm just a principal assistant to the president. What he says is what carries the day, and I don't argue with him. I may have reservations, and I raise it with them. He persuades me many times. Other times he overrules me. And when I realized that he started having a relationship with Raila Odinga, I slowly gave way, because the boss is always right, you know, and that is why many people say, oh, regarding Gachagua, he had said he has put traps in Statehouse so that Raila Odinga has not come. Yeah, that was my agreement with President William Ruto. But that is not my house. The minute I realize they are meeting, they are interacting, I'm also not a stupid person, and I don't have to be told, you know, in black and white. I relaxed, and I stopped even attacking Raila Odinga, and I let the president have his way. So by the time he decided to bring him into government, I had already formed an opinion that the president wants to work with Raila Odinga, and I was quite happy with it. In any case, my brother and long-time confidant, President Uhuru Kenyatta, had told us that Raila is a good man. President William Ruto convinced us otherwise. And we abandoned our son Uhuru Kenyatta, and we decided to go with President William Ruto. Now President William Ruto has told us exactly what President Uhuru Kenyatta had said, that Raila is a good man, we can work with him. If two presidents says a man is good, who are you to argue with him? So we have said Raila Odinga is a good man, and let's work with him. Let's make him part of our political process, and let us build the country together. And I want to say, myself and my political base, the Mount Kenya region, have no problem whatsoever with Raila Odinga. In fact, what people are saying, and it's very interesting, they are saying a Mount Kenya king does not pronounce himself twice on a matter. Our son, President Uhuru Kenyatta, had pronounced himself on this matter. So that pronouncement carries the day. As we stand today, me and the mountain people are quite happy with Raila Odinga, and we don't have a problem with him whatsoever. And I can tell you, because it's important that I say so, myself and the mountain people feel very bad, that we punished Uhuru Kenyatta, we demeaned him, we told him off, we embarrassed him for telling us that Raila Odinga is a good man, and we were very, very brutal with him, and we really hammered him. It has come to our knowledge that it was very unfair, because his crime was to tell us that Raila Odinga is a good man, and we decided that Raila Odinga is a bad man, William Ruto is a good man. Now that President William Ruto has said Raila is a good man, that is why I apologize to Uhuru Kenyatta and his family. And I owed him an apology on behalf of the community, because what he had told us is what the president has told us. We had no business fighting him. We had no business disrespecting him. We had no business humiliating him. Right. So myself and the community, you know, owe Uhuru Kenyatta an apology. And I give that apology on behalf of the community. Okay. You know, and we said, you know, we know, because that's what he had told us. And we were very unfair to him, because, so, you know.
Knowing what you know today, would you have made a different decision if you knew that in 2022?
Well, you cannot talk backwards. You know, I can't say what would have done or not done, but things keeps on changing. Yeah, but now we are saying everybody is good.
You've said that once the king pronounces themselves, the pronouncement stands. Does that mean Uhuru Kenyatta is still the king of the mountain?
Oh, yes, yes. You do know? Uhuru Kenyatta is the undisputed king of the mountain.
And what is your relationship with him?
Good. Brotherly.
When did you do that?
Oh, we talk. You know what happens with our community? We are a very interesting community. We don't fight. We fight very rarely, and when we do, when we realize we fought without a good reason, we patch up.
So what was that?
Oh, yeah,
How many months ago? Which month? Which year?
We've been, when we realized we made a mistake, I'm the one who made the first move of reaching out and apologizing, because really we were unfair to Uhuru Kenyatta. You know, we were very, very unfair. You know, sometime I really feel very bad that I was so brutal on a man who was my great friend, my confidant, my brother, my kinsman. I was so brutal on him. And his crime was only one, saying Raila is a good man. And then the man I said, we don't want Raila Odinga, we want William Ruto. Then he comes and says the same thing. I felt very stupid, you know. In fact, another day, a very senior person abused me at the airport and called me stupid 5 times. And I looked at it, I was very bitter, but I looked at it later at night, and I thought probably he was right. I think I was stupid to fight my own brother, my kinsman, my confidant, for no good reason, for saying another person is a good man. I really regret what I did, and my community does regret, and we are very apologetic to the Kenyatta family. And what happens in my community is a saying that making a mistake is not bad, but repeating is unforgivable. And by the way, let me tell you some. From the experience of my community, myself and the leaders and the whole community fighting Uhuru Kenyatta, our son, a decision has been made by the community. In fact, it's a covenant. Never again shall the people of the mountain ever fight their own.
When was that decision made?
You know, the people, the Meru, the Embu, you know, they just talk slowly. That has been agreed on. And that's why you find when a few leaders are being told to fight regarding Gachagua, they are finding it very difficult, because a decision has already been made.
When?
That, like almost a year ago.
By who?
By the community.
In what forum?
Don't worry.
There are millions.
You don't know our people.
There are millions of people.
Our people don't talk in meetings. They have a way of communicating. That is how they drove the British out of this land, you know, by communicating silently. There is a covenant among the Mount Kenya people that they will never again, ever be confused by anybody, be used by anybody to fight their own leader. They will never do it. And I also want to tell you, for the avoidance of doubt, for those who are trying to divide the Kikuyu, the Meru, and Embu, it's an exercise in futility. Those 3 are one. And finally, they will be one. And, you know, we have seen these things happen during the Azimio campaign. You use a lot of money, you call meetings, you call MCAs, you call people in tents, you give them money, you persuade them, they take your money. Finally, they make a decision. And you see what they did in 2022. I can tell you, this attempt to divide the Kikuyu, the Embu, and the Meru is an exercise in futility. You can spend billions, you can spend money, you can have meetings, night meetings in hotels, in what forums.
Okay.
But finally, the people of the mountain are one, and they will never be divided, and they will not agree. They have made mistakes before, they will not repeat them.
Deputy President, on the 26th of June, 2024, you were in Mombasa, addressing a press conference shortly after the president had spoken, and you were questioning when the rain started beating the government of Kenya Kwanza, the administration of Kenya Kwanza. And he went out to attack Nuruddin Haji, the Director General of the National Intelligence Service, accusing him that he should take responsibility of the Genzi protest that led to what we saw at Parliament on June 25th. What was your role in those protests?
None. My statement in Mombasa is on record. I don't want to delve into it. I pronounced myself. I said what I thought of the situation. And that remains my truth. And anybody can challenge me otherwise. I don't want to delve into that statement because it was a public statement for consumption.
Do you stand with it?
I said what I said.
Do you stand with it?
Have I ever issued another statement countering that one?
You believe the National Intelligence Service is responsible for the protests?
I've said some, please allow me. I don't want to go into the merits and the demerits of that statement. The statement was crystal clear. It was in broad daylight. It is still there. You can interrogate it.
Why would you come out and make such a statement about an officer who sits in the National Security Council, yet you have access to him or even the president?
I have said I made that statement. I don't want to go into it. Please allow me not to go into it. That statement I made in broad daylight. You covered it live. It is still there. You can go and read it and listen to it once more.
But in the spirit of accountability, because it was your statement, and I believe you made it after thorough consideration, and you raised issues to the person of the Director General. You said he should resign. You still believe so?
I have said I talked to that day. Sam, allow me to leave it there. I don't want to go into that matter.
Do you think that your tribulations have something to do with how you conducted yourself during that period?
I don't think so. They did not start then. I told you we just worked well for 1 year, and then all these games and schemes started. They had nothing to do with it. That was my own reading of the situation then, and I talked to the people of Kenya as an elected leader.
When is the last time you attended a meeting of the National Security Council?
Well, National Security Council meetings are top secret. I don't want us to.
I don't want the details.
I don't want us to go into the details.
When is the last time you attended a meeting?
I think earlier this month. I think so.
Earlier this month. Was the NIS Director General in attendance?
Of course he was.
Have you patched up your differences?
No, I don't want to go into the details of the National Security Council. That's a top security organ for this country.
It is not about the National Security Council. I'm asking if you have patched up your relationship with him.
Did I say we have personal differences? I was giving an opinion.
An opinion?
Yeah, on that day.
But you said as a matter of fact.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. I won't record what I said. I made a public statement as an elected leader of what I thought of the situation.
What responsibility should the administration of Kenya Kwanza take in regard to the lives that have been lost in those protests?
Some I have said that matter, I addressed it comprehensively. Let it rest there.
I'm actually not talking about the statement. I'm talking about the killing of 60 people, at least 60, as reported by the Kenya National Human Rights Commission, KNCHR, which the government is yet to admit about the total number. The last, I think we have from the president, about 40. By the way, how many people died in those protests?
You asked that question to the president. He's the chairman of the National Security Council. I don't want to talk about security matters and operational issues because I am not competent enough to address operational issues in the National Police Service.
You're the deputy president.
I am, but I don't comment on operational issues. I'm a very disciplined deputy president. I know my space.
You don't have information about how many people died?
I am not going to comment on operational issues to do with the National
That's
Police
not an
Service.
operational issue. It's a fact. It's a statement of fact.
It's an operational issue.
The cabinet, in different dispatches, indicated that compensation was going to be given or granted to families that lost their loved ones. What is the progress about that?
You would have to check with the minister who is responsible for the implementation of the cabinet decision. You see, once we have met in cabinet, every line minister takes the responsibility of implementing the cabinet decision. So I don't have the facts because I have not asked for that answer as to how far we have gone with the implementation. I would advise that you seek out the minister.
How important is that matter to you?
Very important.
But you have no information.
Yes, because I have not asked about it.
Why?
I have many things that I need to ask about every day. And when the time comes, we'll get a report. In any case, you are aware we have not had cabinet for a long time. The first cabinet committee, the inaugural committee, met this week. We have not had cabinet meetings for almost 2 months, I think so. So
the last one was, I think, July, early July.
I think so.
Then cabinet was dismissed on July 11th.
I think so. For almost 2 months, we have not had cabinet meetings.
So what should we do? What should the country do? Because they're waiting for answers. There was a promise by the president.
You follow up with the minister responsible for that particular docket. Because you see, once cabinet has met and made resolutions of cabinet. It is in cabinet upon the respective cabinet secretary to follow up and implement what the cabinet has decided.
What are your thoughts? Because the Genzi-led protests were because of the Finance Bill 2024. Why didn't your administration listen to the people, and what responsibility would you take?
You had my statement. The answer is there.
We are here. We are speaking
but
to
I'm
the
saying,
President.
Sam Gituko, I gave a very comprehensive statement in Mombasa.
And he doesn't
about
have to
what I
repeat it.
thought. I still feel the same way.
That?
Yeah. That we must listen to the people. That was my position.
So why didn't the government listen to the people?
Sam, I've pronounced myself on that matter.
Please give me an answer, Deputy President. Why didn't the government listen to the people?
But we listened to the people. We shelved the finance bill. But already too much damage had already occasioned, and that was the gist of my statement.
So why did we have to keep that?
That is the question I was asking. Do we have to wait for things to get to this magnitude for us to act? That's what I was asking then.
Before that time, did you try to propose the voice of reason to those that...
I always do. And quite a number of people are uncomfortable with me for always speaking the truth and saying that we need to listen to the people.
And what happened if you raised those issues?
Well, I cannot give you details of what happens in cabinet. Cabinet meetings are top secret, and I am bound by...
I'm not talking about cabinet meetings.
No, those forums, my opinions, are given in cabinet. I cannot divulge to you what my opinions were, because I will be in breach of the oath of secrecy.
You know, you told me that you're accountable to the people of Kenya, and if anyone has a problem with you, they should actually consult the people of Kenya if they're disappointed with you. But you're here, I'm asking a question about your role in making sure that what happened on June 25th didn't happen, but you won't explain.
But I have explained to you. I was very clear. I pronounced myself on the matter that we need to listen to the people more. What else? What more do you want me to tell you? That is my stand.
I'm asking what happened that, who was not listening? That's what I'm asking.
I have told you, Sam. I have said we need to listen to people all the time.
And if you made that counsel to whoever, who is that didn't listen to you?
Well, I don't want to apportion blame. I made my pronouncement that it is good as people's employees who we are, we must continuously listen to the employer, the people of Kenya.
For the first time, people died at the entrance of Parliament. When that happened, you were the Deputy President of the Republic of Kenya. What responsibility do you take?
I pronounced myself on the matter.
Please give me an answer.
No, but what answer do you want me to give you? I said what I thought about the matter. The answer is in my statement.
And you're here. That was June.
No, but I'm saying the statement
is
there.
Okay to repeat it.
No. Why do you want me to repeat it?
Because I'm asking the question.
You have it in your archives. My answer to what happened is in my statement.
Why don't you want to talk about this?
But I said where the blame lies. The statement is there. Why do you want me to go into it? I said. I have not recanted that statement. I still stand by it. So go and look at the statement.
Why don't you want to talk about this?
I don't want to go into it.
Because?
Because I don't think it is necessary. Because my statement was very explicit.
Over 60 families are still waiting.
But my statement was very explicit.
For answers.
I made myself
No action has been taken against any police officer. Are you bothered by that?
You know whom you need to ask that question.
I'm asking
who is supposed to take the action?
Sorry?
Who is supposed to take the action?
You tell me.
You know.
Who?
What are you saying? What do you want me to tell you? You know I'm the Deputy President.
Exactly.
You know who is supposed to take action against police officers. Go and ask them that question.
Who?
You know.
I wish you could tell me the answer.
No, I'm not. Why do you want me to help you to do your research?
I don't want you to help me, just respond. Kenyans, it's not about
I am not going to
Kenyans are watching.
Kenya, you know, you tell the Kenyans, you know. Go and look for that person and ask that question. That is not my question. I am not in charge of that docket. So I cannot answer a question that doesn't belong to me.
So you say we should go to the Interior Ministry?
I don't know. If you think that's where we need to go, proceed.
Now, Deputy President, there are those that accuse you that you have been given duties in the Constitution and the Executive Order number 2 of 2023, but you have not been very successful in delivering. Talking about illicit brew, questions of coffee, tea and milk. You made promises.
Some. I was given many duties. One of them is to chair cabinet committees. I've chaired 35 cabinet committees and successfully prosecuted 333 agenda items to the cabinet. If anybody wants to call that underperformance, then my English fails me. Number two, I'm in charge of intergovernmental relations. Since I became the deputy president, I've created the most conducive environment ever between the two levels of government. Before we came to office, the county governments and the national government were at war. And through good leadership, through bringing people together, I was able to put our county commissioners together with our governors and tell them that we serve the same people. I have successfully held IBEC meetings. We have discussed the division of revenue bill, and the devolution agenda is ongoing. That is Rigathi Gachagua who has done that. Rigathi Gachagua is in charge of international development partnerships. I have chaired the Development Partners Forum. I've held meetings with our development partners. I have made all the necessary interventions between the National Treasury, the Attorney General's Office, the Ministry of Foreign Affairs, to unlock billions of dollars that were held because of bureaucracy, because there was no liaison between the development partners and the national government. I am in charge of constitutional commissions and independent offices. I have held meetings with constitutional commissions and independent offices, the Chief Justice, the Attorney General, the Inspector General of Police. For the record, there was a very big dispute between the Inspector General of Police and the National Police Service. Through my office, I mediated and solved the problems. They used to exchange insults in the press. You have not seen that anymore. That is work that I did. I have successfully mediated differences between the Ministry of Education and the Teacher Service Commission. And you can see they are working in harmony. Again, Sam,
right.
I'm in charge of the development program by World Bank of about $3 billion for Northern and Northeastern Kenya. I have successfully held meetings and organized for fast tracking of programs in Northern and Northeastern Kenya for those counties funded by the World Bank. Again, that is work in my office. In matters coffee, the president assigned me to lead coffee reforms. He did not tell me to take over the Ministry of Agriculture or to take over the Ministry of Cooperative Development. He asked me to initiate and drive coffee reforms. I held a very successful coffee conference in Meru and brought all the partners, all the stakeholders together. And out of that conference, we have worked with those stakeholders and come up with the Coffee Bill 2023 that is now before the National Assembly. In that bill, we have recommended the re-establishment of the Coffee Board of Kenya to market coffee for farmers so that they can get away from private entrepreneurs. We have recommended the revival of the Coffee Research Foundation so that we can work on variety and disease-resistant varieties. And we have come up with the direct sales settlement where farmers sell their coffee directly and receive their proceeds directly. Under my watch, we have reopened the Nairobi Coffee Exchange, and auctions are taking place every week. Once the Coffee Bill 2023 is approved by Parliament, accepted by the President, all the reforms that we have been working on will be complete, and farmers will get their money. And I also want to say, through our intervention, a lot of coffee societies are getting over 100 shillings in terms of pricing. Where we have challenges.
That's per kilo?
Yeah, per kilo. And our ideal price is about 150, and we'll get there. There is a factory, I think, in the Gariama in Kirinyaga with about 122 shillings. And I want to assure you that once we have another bill before Parliament, the Cooperative Bill of 2023, to deal with the governance and integrity issues around cooperative societies. Once that bill has been approved and assented by the President, it will strengthen leadership in cooperative societies. Where you see a lot of demonstrations, it has nothing to do with the pricing. It has a lot to do with the mismanagement of coffee farmers' earnings by wrong officials. The cooperative bill of 2023 will address that. And that is why people must know. I've seen some politicians trying to attack me about coffee. Where they come from, they don't even have coffee. They don't understand coffee. I was educated with coffee proceeds myself. And I know once this bill becomes law, and I'll assist in the implementation of that law, farmers will be very happy. But I want to tell people, the fact that I was overseeing coffee reforms did not make me the CS for agriculture or for cooperative development. The day-to-day running of the coffee subsector in terms of production, in terms of yield, in terms of quality, belongs to the Ministry of Agriculture. The day-to-day running of marketing coffee, overseeing the cooperative societies, that docket is in the State Department of Cooperatives. Okay. What I'm doing is overseeing reforms. In matters tea, Sam. Yeah. I held the tea conference in Kericho. Again, we brought all the stakeholders. And I want to tell you, there were a big problem because of the Tea Act that was brought by Senator Cheriot that could not be implemented because various stakeholders had gone to court. Through my intervention, I have successfully negotiated all those cases to be dropped. Now the Tea Act will be implemented to the letter, and coffee farmers will get a return on investment. Right. We have had challenges in Mombasa about tea that has not been sold. I found some leaders here going to incite people in the Mount Kenya region that tea has not been sold in Mombasa because Gachagua has failed. For the avoidance of doubt, all the tea from the Mount Kenya region, that is called the Eastern region, has been sold because of very high quality. Where we have had a challenge is tea from the Western region, Kericho, Bomet, Nandi. Because what happened is that they put a reserve price. The reserve price was too high against the quality. And therefore, the stocks were not moving. I went there and we have removed the reserve price, brought it a little bit down so that the stocks can move. And I want to tell you, I was just looking at the figures. I was just looking at the figures here. Out of the reforms that we have done in the tea sector, you know, the coffee, the tea bonus for this year, you know, if you look at a factory called Kaba, last year the bonus was 41 shillings. Today it is 50 this year. In Kagwe, in the Lari, it was 44. Now it is 44.25. In Theta it was 42, it is 50. In Gachege it was 40, it is 46. I can say that we are having an increase in terms of bonus. Where we have challenges and you have seen many demonstrations, again those demonstrations are part of the reforms that we have made of educating the farmer. Right. It is where the tea directors have increased the cost of production. They are having too many travels, they are having too many allowances, so the cost of production is eating on the profit of the tea farmer. Again, because of these reforms that we have done in the tea sector, farmers are aware of what is happening. In matters alcoholic drinks, in terms of illicit alcohol and drugs, if there is one program the government of President William Ruto can boast about, is that program that the president asked me to spearhead. Our young people are dying because of illicit brews. And I held many meetings. I held a meeting in Nyeri, I held one in Nakuru, I held one in Chuka, I held one in Mombasa. I have held countless meetings here with KRA, with KEBS, with the Counterfeit Authority, with KRA, and we came up with very comprehensive programs on how to deal with illicit alcohol. And I can tell you, and you can go and ask for yourself, out of those interventions, we have to a great extent eradicated the consumption of illicit brews. And it has been very successful. Unfortunately, there has been some lull of late in terms of enforcement. Right. I want to ask our officers in the field to keep their eyes on the ball and make sure this program is successful. We closed all factories that were manufacturing these illicit brews. Okay. There was an attempt to reopen them, and I raised the matter with the president. I want to thank him because he intervened. And those factories were not reopened, the ones that were producing illicit brews. But I want to say that is a program that has been very, very, very successful. Some, in terms of duties that have been given to me by the president. On coming to office, he asked me to chair the emergency drought response team. And I successfully mobilized resources across the country during the worst drought in 40 years of this country's history. And I made sure not a single person died. I was all over the country. I was in Garissa, I was in Wajir, I was in Tana River, I was in Kajiado. I mobilized food. Again, under that capacity the president gave me, during the El Nino rains, again I was able to mobilize resources, our development partners, our county governments, our national government, and to make sure that no Kenyan died. Okay. And to make sure that people got support the way they are required. Right. So anybody, I would like somebody to ask me, out of the work that have been given by the president, the 8 or 9 functions or so, which one have I failed? President has asked me to represent him in international engagements.
Okay. I get that. Deputy President, so you also said, and we're getting to the tail end of this interview, you also assigned the role of Nairobi Rivers Commission.
Yes.
Just recently, we saw, should I say, a relaunch of a program to clean up the river. Were you there?
No, I was not there.
Why? It's under your...
The Nairobi Rivers Commission has been under my office.
Yes.
But we did not get any activities underway because we did not get the requisite budget. So there were no activities. The president took over the responsibility of Nairobi River. That was a delegated function. And the person who has delegated a function to you, when he needs to take it up and proceed with it, he does not even need to consult you because it's a delegated function. And the president went to launch that program, and it is going on well. But subsequently, I joined him at Kenya School of Government, where we met the administrative officers, the chiefs, the assistant chiefs, and the village elders, again to anchor the program. And that is where the president called me for that meeting, because I also have a way with the administrators.
So why didn't you attend that event? It's important. It's one of your functions, even if the president...
as I've told you, I was not aware when it was taking place. And I've told you exactly what happened. But the one that I was invited, I was there.
Then it means it's been longer than 1 week that you've not
I'm
been...
not sure exactly when, but I'm saying any function that I need to attend, that I'm aware of, I'm always there. So the one at the Kenya Institute of Government, where the chiefs, the assistant chiefs, were there, and the village elders, I was there, and I spoke for a long time.
Okay.
And I advised them on what I think they should do.
Okay, let's try and get your understanding. There are a lot of conversations going on, including the expansion of the Jomo Kenyatta International Airport. There's a PIP, privately initiated proposal that has come from Adani. You've had a conversation of what has been going on, perception of failure of transparency. What are your thoughts about this?
I've heard about. I am not private to the arrangement because it is not in my docket. I have not been assigned to deal with it, so it has not come to my attention officially. So what I know is what I'm also reading and hearing. You know, I'm listening to the people of Kenya. What I know is what I'm listening to the people, but I don't have the details. I will not be able to say exactly what the details are. Is it a good deal for the country? Is it a bad deal for the country? I don't have those details. I'm a very truthful person. If those details are put before me, I'll be able to apply my mind and give an opinion. As it is, I'm just listening like that.
But Deputy President, you chair committees. And these committees, when Kipchumba Murkomen was the Transport Cabinet Secretary, you are still chairing those committees. You never heard of such?
What the details were not brought before the committee. What was brought to the committee is that there is need to expand JKIA. And we said, go ahead and expand JKIA. But as to the details of the PIP, as to the level of investment, as to who do it, that has not been
You've never heard of it?
I've not been brought to a committee that I chair.
So with the questions that Kenyans are asking, and you are the presidency, so what assurance do you give Kenyans?
Well, what I can say is that the next time that I hold a cabinet committee, I'll ask the minister in charge of transport to give us a brief as a cabinet committee so that I'm also appraised, so that if I go to an interview like this one, I can be able to answer. As it is, I'm as green as you are. I have no details. What I know is that Kipchumba Murkomen came to the cabinet committee and asked for approval to start arrangements to expand JKI.
Okay.
And we approved. And we went to the cabinet, we approved. But as to the details, as to how it is being done, as to who is doing it, whether it's value for the money for the country, whether the thing is above board or not, I cannot comment about it because I am as green as you are.
Okay. Well, I have to admit that we've been reading about it and reporting about it. But what are your thoughts about the contentious university funding model that has a lot of students raising questions about the banding, but also causing a lot of discomfort among parents?
I am a great believer in listening to the people. People don't just complain without a reason. We came up with this financing model. It was brought by Minister Machogu before Cabinet Committee. It went to Cabinet. We looked at it and we agreed it's a good model. But Kenyans think differently. And at the head of it all, Sam, we must listen to the people. Because all these things we do are for the benefit of the people. If the people we are trying to help feel so bad about something, you cannot insist on it. And that's why I'm happy that the president has appointed a committee to review, you know, and reconsider what people are saying. Again, we need to listen to the students, we need to listen to the parents, we need to listen to the vice chancellors, we need to listen to the lecturers. It's about the people. And I am in agreement 100% that where people raise issues, we have a responsibility as an administration to accord them a hearing, because we are not rulers.
So we are leaders. Why is it that the listening is always after the fact?
Well, some you do things that are well-intentioned. Sometimes you come up with a program and you mean well and you think you have done the right thing. And when it goes to the beneficiaries, they think differently. It does not mean that you had bad intentions. What it means is that nobody knows everything. The people of Kenya have every right to correct the government. If they think the government has not come up with a good model, we have a responsibility as an administration to listen to the people. And I think I want to, you know, applaud the president for agreeing that we need a committee to listen to what people are saying, and we take their views, and probably and hopefully they'll help us to make a more informed decision.
Do you find anything wrong with that? Because if you look at the committees that have been formed, in total more than 100 people, yet the cabinet has 22 cabinet secretaries, if you to include yourself and the president and the attorney general and the secretary to the cabinet, that's 26 people. Now the committees are more than those, yet you're the policy making organ, you make decisions or you endorse decisions that eventually go afoul against the people, and they have now to use taxpayers' money to correct those mistakes. What's going on?
Well, mistakes have happened. We have to correct them some. If the decision we made as cabinet has not gotten favor with the people of Kenya, the same cabinet cannot review that decision. I think what the president has done is the right thing. Give some other minds the benefit to interrogate what the cabinet did. Again, it's what the people of Kenya are saying, and advise the government on the best way of going about it.
Now, we understand the president is leaving the country tonight. Are you aware?
I am told he is leaving the country, but I'm not aware of the time. So I've not been informed as of this evening.
Has he briefed you?
No, I have not talked to him today.
But he's leaving.
Well, he'll talk to me in his own
you're
time.
his senior-most assistant, principal assistant.
Yes.
And you do not know?
As the time he's leaving, I'm not aware.
Did he tell you he's leaving?
I have not talked to him today.
You don't know? He has not officially, rather communicated to you telling you that he's leaving?
No, he has not communicated to me officially.
For how long can you continue with this?
Well, as long as it depends on the boss.
Your family is devastated. You said your words. You feel you're being mistreated. You said.
Yes.
You think the president needs to call the people around him to
Yes,
order.
of course, absolutely.
Would you resign?
No, never. Why? I've been given a job by the people of Kenya. This job has its own hindrances and challenges. It's part of the job process. And when I took this job, I knew it's not easy. Only I didn't know it will be that soon. I thought probably we'll have a good time in the first 5 years, and if there are challenges, maybe later. It's only that it has come sooner than we anticipated, and we had been given a commitment that this will not come. But now that it has come, we live with it. Okay. We'll just work.
As we close, the governor of Nairobi feels that for you to say you're introducing him to the people is wrong, because the same people had voted for him as senator. What is introducing him to the people?
Well, you should ask him why he called me to go with him to the people. Because he needed them. And he asked me to go with him. I did not invite myself to the campaign meeting. If I had no value, he would not have asked me to go with him.
There are those that are asking that if the Deputy President of the Republic is championing for the issues of Mount Kenya, who is supposed to champion for issues of other regions? Should they get their own Deputy President?
The Deputy President of the Republic of Kenya had a meeting here discussing matters to do with Northern Kenya and Northeastern Kenya for a full day. That is not Mount Kenya. The Deputy President of the Republic of Kenya was in Mombasa at the agricultural show. That is not part of Mount Kenya. The Deputy President of the Republic of Kenya has been to Kajiado to work on agriculture. That is not part of Mount Kenya.
How many meetings have you held in the Northeastern?
I have been to Northeastern more than 5 times.
Championing the issues of Northeastern?
Yeah, drought. Going there to make interventions. Going there on matters of security. The cabinet committees have held here 35. Those members who attend that committee, we don't discuss Mount Kenya issues. We discuss the issues of Kenya. Those 333 agenda items are not about Mount Kenya. They are about the Republic of Kenya. I do the job for the Kenyan nation. I assist the president to run the country. And I preoccupy myself with issues for the whole country.
Yes,
but I come from somewhere. And where I come from, where they have issues that they want articulated in high levels of government, they ask me to do it, and I always do it, and I'll continue doing it.
You assist the president deliver on his mandate, but he doesn't tell you what he's doing, including tonight. You don't know what time he's traveling.
What is important are the duties that he has given me to do, and I'm doing them.
Okay, all right. Now, Deputy President, last year you promised, alongside the president, that you're going to do something called austerity measures. You're going to cut on travel budget. But in actual sense, the executive, the national executive, has increased his travel expenditure by 7 billion shillings. Your own office has grown from 103 million shillings the year ending June 2023 to now report 556 million shillings.
That's a lie.
It is the report of the control of budget.
I saw it in the press, and I did not want to dignify it by way of reply. My office doesn't have a budget of 500 million for travel. Yeah, and that is, I'll be able to give you the estimates tomorrow. Yeah. My budget is below 200 million. I'm not sure it's 100 and something. Yeah? And it has never been 500 million. That's a lie. It's something that was put there to try to put my office in bad light.
Also,
I don't know who
was calling to question the report of the control of
budget. That one I want to say, and I'll be able to give you that information tomorrow. On Monday, tomorrow is Saturday, I'll get what is the budgetary allocation for my office for travel for 2023, 2024. And for
I'm not talking about the budgetary allocation. I'm talking about the budget implementation report.
There is no way you can exceed the budgetary provision. So the budgetary provision is a guiding factor in matters finance.
And that's
fine. You cannot spend above the budget.
So how much did your office spend?
In terms of?
In the year ending 2020.
I am not sure. I am not sure of the details because I'm not an accountant. I'm not the accounting officer. I am the Deputy President. I would
but you're very clear that it's not that amount.
Yeah, I'm sure. It's below 200 million.
The control of budget bases her reports, or her office bases the reports on the reports from the accounting officers.
I will be able to get a clarification for that one. In fact, I saw it in the press, and I had decided to raise it. It got out of my mind. Now that you have raised it, I want to clarify to the people of Kenya on record, and some on Monday. I'll give you the actual budgetary allocation for my office for international travel. For
no, that's not for international travel. It's domestic and international travel.
But you cannot mix the two.
No, that's how it's reported.
No. You cannot mix the two.
So how much did your office spend on domestic travel and
domestic travel is heavy.
How much?
I don't know the figures. But what you must know is that I have 9 functions, Sam. These 9 functions, I don't just sit here in Karen. You're asking me whether I go to Northeastern. I need to fly to Northeastern. You asking me when I go to the rest of the country. I don't travel a lot. I have a security detail. I have people who assist me. By virtue of my office, my travel is quite heavy because of the responsibility of the office and the security arrangements around it. And there is no way I can just sit here and undertake my activities. I travel around the country. And there is a budgetary provision for that because I have activities that have been lined up. You know?
So all those visits are important?
Oh, they are very important. I have never. The only time I traveled on holiday was in 2022. I asked the president to give me permission to go and visit my children who are in South Africa. I had not seen them for 10 years. That's the only time I've traveled on holiday. All these other duties are official. And I can, every travel that I have done is accounted for.
Okay. All right. I'm asking that because now the Office of the President, Statehouse and the Executive Office of the President is reporting about 1.74 billion shillings for both domestic and foreign travel.
Our budget has been cut by half for everything.
But it's increasing. Travel, the reports are showing that the travel expenditure is increasing.
I'm saying for this financial year, the current financial year, 2024, 2025, our budgets across board have been cut by half. Even our development budget, we have no money to maintain this residence.
All right.
We had zero. All the development expenditure in the austerity measures has been removed.
And finally, during those austerity measures that were announced shortly after the rejection of the Finance Bill 2024, some of the offices affected is the Office of the First Lady, Office of the Spouse of the Deputy President, and Office of the Spouse of the Prime Cabinet Secretary, as announced by the government. How has that affected the operations of your spouse?
Well, my spouse, Pastor Dorcas, had a very, very important program on addiction and widows program. And I must commend her. She did a fantastic job. She has helped hundreds of children who are addicted and successfully rehabilitated them and gotten them into income-generating projects and really changed many lives. And her work was supporting my work in terms of eradication of illicit brews, and how she was dealing with those who are already patients in terms of addiction. That program, of course, has adversely been affected. She had very many camps that are now having challenges because they don't have funding. But we are appealing to many well-wishers. I am personally putting in a contribution from my salary. We have many well-wishers who are supporting her, and shortly we'll be having a major funds drive to ask the people of Kenya to support that program, because she cannot send those children away. Those are children who need help. Those are children who are sick. And the fact that the government cannot fund that program anymore does not mean that those children will be left unattended.
Was that decision a good one to cut?
In my view, I don't think it was the right decision, but that decision was made and we accepted it. We cannot argue with it. But I can tell you the program my spouse was doing has the support of very many Kenyans. She has assisted many children who would have been destroyed, who would have died, and given them a second chance. She had opportunities to go even for weddings for people who are previously addicted, have abandoned alcohol, and have found somebody to marry. It's such a successful program. It's unfortunate that in all these measures, the budget for our office was scrapped, but we are not complaining. We are saying that we are asking well-wishers and people of goodwill who think that she was doing the right thing to continue supporting that program. We'll be making an appeal to the people of Kenya to support that program so that we can help the children who have been addicted.
All right, there are very many questions, including those that are coming from Kenyans, but you have to bring this to a close. And I want you to look at which camera, which is your camera, here, and just give your closing remark and what message you have for the people of Kenya, but also the president before he departs.
Well, I want to say thank you very much. I wish my boss, President William Ruto, safe travel to the UN. Please represent us well, like you have always done, and let our country shine in the international fora. I want to assure the people of Kenya that despite difficult moments in this country, there is hope. Kenyans are very prayerful people, and I know that people are very patient. They endure a lot, and there's a lot of resilience. Looking ahead, I see a bright future. Difficult as things are, I think there will be a good future for this country. I want to ask the people of Kenya to pray for me so that I get strength, I get courage to soldier on despite the challenges, despite all that is going on around us. These are challenges that have been seen by other people there before, and I'm sure I will overcome them. We believe in the power of prayer. I want to assure the Church of Christ that I support their programs. We had an MOU with them. I believe in the freedom of worship. I believe that we should let the church regulate itself so that they can be able to carry on with the good work that they are doing without too much interference. Otherwise, I want to thank the people of Kenya for listening to me. I want to thank you, Sam, for coming over. And I look forward. And also be looking for me. I'm the one who looked for you. I had some people asking, why doesn't Gachagua do national television? But you guys don't look for me. The people who do, the people who do the vernacular stations are always looking for me, and I'm always available, Sam.
We have been looking for you for a
No, but you are saying I'm the one who looked for you. Please look for me.
This time around, yes.
Please look for me. I am available. And many people, you know, were doubting my capacity to express myself in the English language. You remember to the run-up of the election, many people, you know, had very low opinion on my level of education and power of expression until I went to the running mate debate, and then they knew that I know something. So please be looking for me.
Sure.
I have a few things that I know. Right. And I can express myself.
You know, someone saying that Kimani Ichung'wah smoked you out.
He didn't.
He didn't.
He didn't. There's things that I needed to discuss. I don't respond to those politicians. I will never dignify their insults by responding to them.
He's not just those politicians. He's the leader of majority.
I'll never dignify their insults. I am a self-made man. I do things at my own pace. I had issues that I wanted to address. Okay. Especially I wanted to address the issues of my office because people are trying to create an impression that I just politic. I have a lot of work that I do. I have a lot of work that I have done for this country. I'm a very patriotic Kenyan. And those who try to put for me a tribal tag, they'll be sorry. You know, the other day I went to Nyanza. I got a hero's welcome. You know, people thought that I'm only popular in the mountain. And I really want to thank the people of Nyanza for the love and compassion they showed me. I was amazed and I was excited. I went to Kisii. I got a very good reception. I went to Masaini in Kajiado. I got a very good reception. I am not a tribal leader. I'm a national leader. And many Kenyans are happy with me because I'm truthful. And that's why you see where I go, I get very good reception. I'll be all over the country. I'll be traveling all over the country when doing my work, executing my mandate, the one that I've been given by the president. And when the president asks me to do a specific duty, I'll always be there. Even on my own, I'll also be traveling around the country, and I'll serve the people of Kenya equally.
Despite the fact that it is becoming quite expensive, both the county and national government spent up to 45 billion shillings in the previous financial year.
Well, you must go to the people because it's about them. You owe them service. And you cannot serve them from Nairobi. You must go and talk to them. You must go and listen to them. You must go and explain to them what is it that you are doing.
Deputy President, thank you so much for engaging us to talk about the state of affairs and what is happening within the politics of the country, of the mountain, but also within the administration that we also sit in. This has been a conversation with the Deputy President, His Excellency Rigathi Gachagua. Up next is News Time on Friday night. My name is Sam Gituku. Good night from here.